ready to go over here? Wow. Okay, everybody, welcome. And I'll call this meeting to order. It is July 1st and 10 a.m. here in Globe. I have asked one of our interns, Diana, right over here, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And we'll stand for that. And then after that, Sherika C. will lead us in the invocation. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful day, this day to come together as a county to do the business that we have at hand, hopefully to do your business. Give us grace and give us guidance. In Jesus' name, amen.
Okay. Thanks for doing that, ladies. It was a last minute fill in, so good job. Let's start with item 2A. It's a presentation. Hold on. Medicine's on its way. Thank you. All right. 2A, public recognition of one of our employees through the County Spotlight on the Employees Program as follows. Wayne Jones. Is Larissa here? Hi, Larissa.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. Thank you so much for having me. As discussed, the purpose of our Spotlight on Employee Program is to provide recognition to our employees. Today we have Wayne Jones, who has been a Public Works employee for almost 13 years. He started as a road maintenance and equipment operator and is now the regional road manager for the Timber region, which includes Payson, Star Valley, and Young. He was nominated by his supervisor, Troy White, our interim Public Works Director. On Troy's nomination form, he wrote, "I want to recognize Wayne Jones for his outstanding work and consistent dedication to excellence. Wayne sets a high standard through quality of his work and his commitment to his team and his unwavering integrity. He does not wait to be told. He takes initiative and is always looking for ways to improve operations and service delivery. Whether it's leading by example in the field or identifying new solutions to improve efficiency, Wayne's proactive approach and professionalism makes a lasting impact. He is a true asset to our department, and I sincerely appreciate everything he brings to the table every day." Wayne, you want to come on up?
He loves the recognition too. Yeah.
Dude.
I'm kidding.
What? No speech? Come on, Chair.
All right.
Make him speak.
Wayne, are you sure? Okay. Well, we'll say a few words. That's Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah. Oh, Wayne, thank you very much for all that you do to help keep us the morale up with the crew and motivated. I just appreciate it very much. From the help that you've been in Gila when we've had difficulties there and stuff. I don't get a chance to work with you very often, but I know you live there and you've helped us a lot. So I thank you very much for all that you do to help our road crew.
Thank you, Supervisor Klein.
Wayne, thanks. You've done an awesome job. And you run a good crew, and everything's been really, really great. I would say I'd rather heard a speech from you than you hear one from me, but anyway, thank you, Wayne.
Thank you. Thank you, Larissa, and thank you, Wayne. I know, very valued member of our team, and you jump in as needed, whether you're asked or not. And so we have really a lot of people that are great employees, and Wayne, you deserve the recognition. I know you don't really care for it, but anyway, it's something that's important that we do. We recognize talent when we have it. So thank you for that. Anything from over here?
No, I concur with the board. I've known Wayne worked with him on several projects, and he is one of the top-notch employees in Gila County.
Yep. Okay, thank you so much for that. Item 3A, public hearing. This is information, discussion, action to consider a liquor license application order number LL2501 submitted by Camilla Alacon, I think, for an owner transfer of a Series 7 beer and wine license with an interim permit to operate the license at Old County Inn, 6240 West Hardscrabble Road in Pine, 85541, and issue a recommendation to the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control whether the license should be granted. And Charlotte, you're going to present this information.
Good morning, Chairman Christensen and board members. I wanted to start off by expressing my gratitude to Maria for these liquor licenses. They came to us kind of a mess, and she had to go back and forth to the state and amend these applications 2 to 3 times. So I really appreciate her hard work on these. So thank you, Maria. So, as stated, this is a liquor license application for an owner transfer of a Series 7 beer and wine license at the Old County Inn. The application has also applied to the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control for an interim permit to operate the business until the liquor license is issued. The notice of hearing was posted at the establishment per the 20-day statutory requirement. For the board's process, the liquor licenses and internal review was conducted by the Planning and Zoning Division and the Health Division. The treasurer also reviewed the application. The Planning and Zoning Division reported 1 building violation. However, code enforcement has notified the property owner and they are working with them. I did not receive any written objection to this application from any bona fide residents who reside or own or lease property within a 1-mile radius of the subject property. I recommend that you proceed with a public hearing.
Okay, thank you very much. Supervisor Humphrey?
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein?
I'm good, thank you, Charlotte.
I'm good as well. We'll close the discussion and open it up for public comments on this item. Anyone in Globe? No. Anyone in Payson or on the internet? No. Okay, then I'll close the public hearing and call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to recommend that the Arizona Department of Liquor License and Control approve the liquor license application submitted by Carmela Alarcon of Old Country Inn as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. 3B, information, discussion, action to consider a liquor license application order number LL2502 submitted by Nikisha Walden for a new Series 10 beer and wine store license with an interim permit to operate the license at Midstate Market, 20 North Gila Road, Suite 2, Payson, Arizona 85541, and issue a recommendation to the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control whether the license should be granted. Charlotte.
This agenda item and the following agenda item were submitted by the same applicant, Nikisha Walden, and she is applying for 2 different types of liquor license for 2 specific areas within the establishment located in Payson. This is a new application for a Series 10 beer and wine store license with an interim permit to operate with the license at the Midstate Market. The notice of hearing was posted per the 20-day statutory requirement, and an internal review was conducted. The Planning and Zoning Division and Health Division did not report any concerns regarding their areas of responsibility. The treasurer reported that the applicant is up to date on their property taxes, and I did not receive any written obligations to this application. I recommend proceeding with the public hearing to hear from any bona fide residents who reside, own, or lease property within a 1-mile radius of the subject property.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions.
Supervisor Klein.
I'm good, thanks again, Charlotte.
And so am I. So with that, I'll close our discussion and open it up to public hearing. Is there anyone here in Globe, Payson, or the internet? No? I'll close the public hearing and call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to recommend that the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control approve the liquor license application submitted by Nikisha Walden for Midstate Market as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. 3C, information, discussion, action to consider a liquor license application order number LL2503 submitted by Nikisha Walden for an owner transfer of a Series 7 beer and wine bar license with an interim permit to operate the license at Midstate Market, and that's at 20 North Gila Road, Suite 2, Payson 85541, and issue a recommendation to the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control whether the license should be granted. Last one, Charlotte.
This application is for an owner transfer of a Series 7 beer and wine license with an interim permit to operate the license at Butts and Buns Bar located at Midstate Market. A notice of hearing was posted at the establishment for the 20 days. I did not receive any objection regarding this application, so I recommend that you proceed with the public hearing.
Thank you, Charlotte. Supervisor Humphrey?
No question.
Supervisor Klein?
I'm good.
Okay, me too. Open it up for public hearing. Anyone here in Globe, Payson, or the internet? No, now close the public hearing and call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to recommend that the Arizona Department of Liquor License and Control approve the liquor license application submitted by Nikisha Walden for Mid-State Market as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Everything passed there. We'll move on to item 4, which is our regular agenda item, 4A, information, discussion, and action to adopt resolution number 250701, which establishes a cesspool remediation program in Gila County and approves agreement number EV 25-0060 between Gila County and the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality in the amount of $500,000 for the period of July 1, 2025 through September 30, 2026 for the replacement of cesspools along the impaired Pinal Creek waterway. Good morning, Jake.
Well, good morning, Mr. Chairman, supervisors. I'm happy to be here today. I'm honored and very grateful. This project, even though it came up recently, has been in the works a long time. And there's been many Gila County departments involved in generating information that would lead us to this point. And that would include the assessor's office and community development and the health department, emergency services, and community services. So there's been a lot of people involved. There have been a lot of organizations that we normally deal with. CAG is one of those primarily. CAG Environmental Committee took up a project in 2018, and let me back up and say we started our work here probably around 2012. So we've been at this 12, 13, 14 years now, gathering information that would provide the background for what we're about to embark upon. So as I said, I'm really tickled to have lived long enough to see this. So I would say that I'm going to also mention that on the way to this event, there were 2 people in the Christopher Creek area, a person who did inspections for home transfers, as well as a realtor who took it upon themselves, who decided that they wanted to clean up the waters of Christopher Creek based on a seminar they had done through the University of Arizona called Master Watershed Stewards, excuse me. And so they over a few years, as they worked on people who were doing home transfers, actually talked about replacing cesspools and old septic systems. And over time, that what happened was Christopher Creek became delisted for nitrogen pollution, which that's an amazing thing. So that kind of led us to then taking a longer look at, or more detailed look at, what was the situation of on-site systems in Gila County. And we're a unique place, you know, in that we don't have much public land. And we have an aged infrastructure, both in wastewater as well as in homes. And so we have a high concentration of, I'll say, old things, cesspools and old septic systems. And so we're a perfect place to study because we're not bothered by the growth that covers up what the old infrastructure looks like. So we're a perfect place to have done this. And so that study, you know, CAG picked up that ball. There was a pollution effort done earlier. CAG picked up the ball, helped us but rather identify all the homes in Gila County that we could, based on the age of the septics and the age of the building of the homes. So from that, along came a lady by the name of Manny Bowler. Manny took the job as the community liaison for the Apache, Navajo, and Gila counties. And she came one day and asked what had gone on with respect to Gila County and septics. And so she got all of this information that had been gathered, and as Manny does, she ran with it. She took it back to ADQ. ADQ started poking into cesspools. They discovered that, gosh, there's lots of them around. And in the documentation that came to you, they say there's between, I've forgotten the number, up to 35 to 65,000. I think there's more like 94,000 in the state. In Gila County, I think we have roughly, and back in 2014 when I looked at it, I think we have had at that time about 5,500 cesspools outside of what's in the Tri-City Sanitary District. And if I looked at the pollution that goes into the ground from those systems, those cesspools, it is a little over 1 million pounds a year of biological oxygen demand. Bad stuff, poop in the ground that has to be dealt with, and that ends up someplace. It doesn't get digested in the ground, it doesn't get filtered out, it ends up someplace, and somebody's going to get to deal with it. And in our county, that's probably us, or our citizens. So that's the magnitude of the problem that we're starting to deal with today. And then the old septic system we talked about, we got another almost 1,700 of those, and those add about 250,000 pounds. So it's improved a lot by today. If you looked at today's rules and the systems that comply with today's rules, the answer would be, in my opinion, 0. So we have a large issue that we as a group, I would like to see, I think we need to address in behalf of our citizens. So all of this talk leads us to last September, when in Christopher Creek we had a meeting. We were honored by the EPA. We, Gila County, were honored by the EPA, and so was ADQ, along with WIFA, for coming up with a financing project that would allow counties to replace cesspools and aging systems. And EPA, what Manny did through the EPA, got the EPA Regional Administrator, Martha Guzman, to actually come and give a nice talk to all of us and acknowledge exactly what we had done. And so the purpose of that meeting was to thank all of the various parties that had been involved and all the people that had been involved. And so that got done. Now, that brings us to today. So what happened after that meeting was the attorneys started to look at actually what could happen with the agreements that WIFA had come up with, and could the county accept those agreements. And they went back and forth till the first of this year and discovered that counties, well, all but Pima County, cannot borrow WIFA funds for projects like this. And so all of the things that we had talked about and brought forward in Christopher Creek went down the tubes because there's no money. And somewhere along the first of the year, the Governor Hobbs came up with a little bit of money, $500,000 or so, and gave that to ADQ for remediation of waterways to correct the public health associated with the waterways. And at this point in time, I'm going to let Manny talk for just a minute, because Manny was instrumental in taking those funds that came to ADQ and going to bat on our behalf, I'll say, to get to us where we are today. So with that, Manny's now that she's gone on, she's moved on, she's now the delegation coordinator for ADQ Responsible Counties. Manny, go ahead.
Thank you, Jake. Hi, Manny.
Good morning. You all know me. I'm Manny Bowler. I'm with ADQ. I'm the delegation agreement liaison. Water took me in January and said, you're no longer a community liaison, we need you over in groundwater helping with septic issues. So here I am. I'm honored to be here today. It's been a privilege to work with Gila County over the last 4 years to address this topic and to build on the septic inventory that you all created. I believe there's no such thing as luck. I believe that Gila County was prepared when this opportunity of money presented itself, and here we are today. As you all know, big society issues are like onions. They have many layers, and so you're peeling back an onion. So we're just taking layer by layer and addressing the cesspool issue. ADQ has made on-sites, which is another term for septics, a priority. And over the next 5 or 6 years, there's going to be lots of things happening, and this is a pivotal moment in all of that. Behind the scenes, ADQ is working on trying to create a methodology. Gila County went ahead and had CAG help with an inventory. Other counties still have records in the basement. They aren't organized, they don't have it digitized. So ADQ is trying to figure out, is there a way that we can create a methodology so that other counties can do what Gila County did? So that we can create a statewide inventory, so that we have a way to tell a better story, right? What is the impact of septics and or cesspools on our groundwater? And as people move farther and farther out from the metro areas, they're moving into rural areas, they're putting in septic systems, or they're buying old homes and improving the homes, but not the septics. So we need to kind of have an awareness of what that inventory looks like, so that we can also tell the legislature we need a program to potentially address these issues, hence this little project. We're grateful that the governor gave us $500,000 to pilot this, and because Gila County was prepared, we're here today. Let me see here, my notes. I had notes because I get nervous. This project will hopefully also demonstrate the need, as Jake mentioned, as WIFA created this lovely fund. WIFA was very nimble in creating a new funding product that can help address emerging issues. And then we found out that the funding wasn't available to counties. And so we're hoping that by demonstrating the need through this project, that the legislature will address that funding mechanism and make it available so that other counties can do this as well. ADQ appreciates the strong working relationship that we have with Gila County, and we look forward to continuing that with this project and others as we protect waterways. And Gila County is in all the watersheds. So waterways in Gila County are incredibly important, and so is the public health. Do you have anything else, Jake?
Well, yes. Of course. Not often I get to. So what I wanted to say is this: we have a big job ahead of us, and one of the things that is crucial to this happening, to us dealing with the problem that we have, is for the law to change. And I'm hoping that the counties, all of us counties, get together. Pima, by the way, said they are going to take some of the money that WIFA has, and they couldn't understand why the rest of us couldn't have any. And it's because of laws that were put in place many, many years ago that any counties below a certain population or above a certain population couldn't borrow money from WIFA. That simple. And those laws need to change, and I'm hoping that the counties all together can come together and find a way, actually get those laws changed in the next session, so that we and all the other counties can step into line and start cleaning up the cesspools and old systems throughout the state of Arizona. So, and I'd appreciate your help in working on that. From my plea to you would be, please step in and help us out here. And I want to also say this, that I'm going to remind again that these funds that are coming, because they're for clean up a public waterway, a waterway of the United States, to clean that up from human pollution, that the funds, that those projects that are selected, the monies will go to them tax-free. There will be no tax implications to this. So it's a good, this is a really gracious model that is being brought forward for us to consider to take into the future. So with that, I'll take any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Jake. Supervisor Humphrey.
Well, I've got questions and comments. Anyway, you've said multiple times, borrow money from WIFA.
Yes,
So this is a loan
yes it is.
to
So
be paid back how?
here's, oh, let me just, Jared.
So the original loan, when EPA came down, was going to be a 100% forgivable loan program. Because we can't do that, Manny and ADEQ are working with, I believe it's ARPA funding that's expiring. So this one is not a loan. This is literally just $500,000 for as many
that's
on-site
what I
wastewater
thought.
systems
That's
as we can
Yeah,
fit.
okay.
And then there's no repayment or anything on these. The funding is just a way to improve that waterway.
Okay, yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, because
Yes,
you
so-
mentioned it a couple times, so I just
Yeah,
wanted
no,
to
I-
clear that up,
I'm
That-
thinking in the future. I'm
that
sorry.
it is. And also to, for the people that are out there, the Pinal Creek waterway is a wheat fields area, correct? This is not a county-wide deal, this is a particular
the-
watershed that's pretty much in the wheat fields area.
That's correct.
So if you live other than that, right now, we can't help you. It's for the wheat fields area.
Yes, ADQ selected this waterway.
Yes, and it wasn't us that did it, it was ADEQ that selected the waterway
Yes.
for this funding to be spent.
And part of the reason for that is the intention is hopefully we can show that by doing a project like this, we're going to see some improvement in that waterway, and
Right.
that would help with future projects.
Oh,
So
yeah,
we,
no.
We want to make sure we're specifically targeting a small area.
Right, and so, yeah, so anyway, I also wanted to get that out there, so we don't get a lot of calls and say, hey, before that 500,000 runs out, will you take care of mine? But, because that's only for a particular area in a watershed at this point in time, but we're hoping for progress.
Yes.
And so, anyway, I want to thank everybody for all their interest in Gila County and helping us with our wastewater situations. And I think the reason a lot of Gila County was prepared for some of this information needed is because of all the work with Tri-City Sanitation Project, who has done an awful lot of work and spent a lot of money in collecting that information so that we could be more ready to go forward and not continue to pollute our water sources and to help with our infrastructure. And so I thank you all for helping that project as well as this project, because they're all kind of lumped into one. So I can't say enough about how much I appreciate all the work that's being done for cleaning up the cesspools and for helping Tri-City go forward with their project for infrastructure and to also help this waterway. So thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Supervisor Klein?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jake, you guys, thank you, Manny. Thank you, really appreciate it. Jake, I would have one question.
Sure.
When we're talking about these waterways like Canal Creek and right there in Wheatfields area, so much of that area is in floodplain. So when we tie in there to fix some of these cesspools and things like that, are they gonna have to be the more advanced systems like your aerobic systems instead of your conventional systems that
The answer is yes.
yeah.
And when you say the funds will have to, in order to utilize the funds on those properties, they'll have to have a system that meets the criteria that the floodplain ordinance of Gila County spells out for septic systems in the floodway.
Yeah, okay.
So, and that is floodway. So, yes, it's a double whammy in there.
Right. But still, we should get quite a few of them done, so.
We're gonna get quite a few of them done. We'd get quite a few more if it wasn't the floodway.
Yeah, right.
That's
Okay.
That's the way life goes,
Thank you, Jake. Thanks for all your work.
You
Thank
bet.
you again, Manny.
You bet.
Yeah. Thank you, Jake and Manny, for taking such a deep dive into this. It's takes a lot of courage to dive in deep on this one.
Well, look at it this way. Dive in deep is exactly right.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of courage, and not many people even think about it.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is they've been outlawed for so long, yet we're still dealing with them. So
It's only since 1976.
yeah, yeah,
It's not that long.
right.
Come on.
Anyway,
You know.
thank you for
Let
all
me-
of that.
Let me say one other thing, if I could.
Sure.
I alluded to this. And I got the floor. So here's the deal. When I was a kid, I'm going to kind of put in perspective what this means. So I grew up in Wheatland, Wyoming, and it was it's a little town. It was 2,300 people at the time. And if you want to use a telephone, you'd pick it up, and the operator would say, "Number, please." And so you'd say your number, and my home number was 587, and my dad had a grocery store, and it was 770, and the lumber number was lumber number 9. So you'd just say those things, and there were party lines, and it was all kinds of fun. So along came technology, and you got dial phones pretty soon, and then you started to get touch-tone phones. But our town went straight from number please to touch tone. Now, the significance of what we're doing today is exactly that. We're going from cesspools who create huge amounts of pollution and old septics that do the same to no pollution. From the beginning to no pollution. And so that struck me as a change that maybe you all could relate to. Because I can tell you that when the guys I went to college with who went to Wheatland, they just got a big kick out of picking up the phone and hearing number please. So I want you to remember as we think about cesspools that we're no longer have to have the operator ask us who we want to call and then have the operator say, well, they're not home. You could call such and such because they're over there. All right. See you guys later. Thank you for everything.
Okay, thank you for that. And so with that, yes, sir, ma'am.
I just want to say hats off to the team, hats off to Joe Albo. With this being a pilot program for the state of Arizona, it did take a lot of work on behalf of Gila County. Joe Albo did want to hit a point home. Jake did mention the fact that this is non-taxable to the property owners, but I did want to go ahead and read a recital out of the resolution. To further the board's public purpose, it is the intent of this resolution that participating private property owners shall not be subject to the negative federal income tax consequences because of their participation in this cost-sharing program established solely for conserving soil and water resources or protecting and restoring the environment. That basically means that because they're hooking up to the system, their property value will increase. They are not going to be subject to a tax increase. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So if there's nothing else, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to adopt resolution number 25-07-01.
Mr. Chair, I will second that.
Okay, motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, guys. You got it.
Thank you.
All right, item 4B is my item. It's information, discussion, action to approve an economic development agreement, and that's a number 2026-00000004. Okay. Between Gila County and the Payson Book Festival in the amount of $1,000 to support the 10th annual Payson Book Festival, which the board is determined to be for the benefit of the public. With us today, we have Connie Cockrell. She's part of that organization. The book festival is something I have supported through my constituent funds for the last few years, and so this is what that is. Connie, can you tell us briefly what the book fair, the book festival is, and how it impacts in a positive way?
Certainly. Thank you for having me today. The book festival, we started planning the book festival in 2014, and Supervisor Tommy Martin, back in the day, of course, joined us this same exact grant. So, we had to skip a year, of course, for COVID, but then we picked it right back up in 2021. So basically, what we're trying to do is support authors, local authors, Arizona authors, and to support our education in the area through fun reading for kids. The literacy rate and literacy comprehension rate in Gila County is pretty low, and actually pretty low all across Arizona. So these kind of book festivals where we have the authors actually in the room selling their books, talking to people who bring their children in, or adults who really have a particular kind of book they like to read. That interaction with the authors really gets people excited about reading. And of course, if we want a good electorate who's literate and understands what's happening in meetings like this, we need to encourage the ability to read. So that's what we're doing.
Okay, thank you. So let's see, Supervisor Humphrey, you have any?
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein?
Nope, thank you.
Well, we're all good. All right, thank you for coming, Connie. I appreciate it. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve Economic Development Agreement number 2026-00000004 between Gila County and Face and Book Festival as presented, and which the board has determined to be for the benefit of the public.
And I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Okay, motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And all right, let's move on. 4C, information, discussion, action to authorize the Treasurer's Office to abate the taxes, interest, and fees on 118 properties and authorize the chairman's signature on each of the related certificates of clearance for removal of uncollected personal property. Good morning, Monica.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, board members. So I'm here this morning to request and abate 118 certificates of clearance for removal and uncollected personal property. So the background is the Gila County Treasurer has 118 certificate of clearance for uncollectible taxes, which are mobile homes. And these are no longer in the Gila County area. They have been certified by the Gila County Assessor's Office, and they are no longer on the tax roll. As such, they need to be abated. The evaluation are based on the Arizona Revised Statute 42-19157, collection of delinquent taxes, Arizona Revised Statute 42-18351, circumstances of abating tax and removal of tax lien. Each of these 118 properties has a detailed history and documentation as to the reasons for the abatement, which is also attached to the agenda items. The conclusion, it is in the best interest of Gila County to abate these taxes and have them removed from the tax rolls. The recommendation is for the Gila County Treasurer recommends the Board of Supervisors to approve the 118 certificates of clearance in accordance to the Arizona Revised Statutes.
Thank you, Monica. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, so in the state of Arizona, like if you own a piece of property, you're paying taxes on that property. And if you buy a mobile home and put it on that property, then you're paying taxes on the mobile home and the property, but they're separate. Is that correct?
Yes.
What would it take that if you're putting a mobile home on a property to somehow be able to combine that? Is that would that be a state law that needs to be passed?
To combine it, that is done by the assessor's office, and you can do, most of these mobile homes are in a park, a mobile home park.
Oh, okay. Okay, so they were paying taxes, but not on private property.
Correct.
Most of them were in a park.
Correct, on an RV park or like San Diego or a mobile home park.
Okay, so to combine them, that would have to be an owner's choice.
A fixture, correct.
Okay, because also too, there's been taxes that were owed on a mobile home, but they couldn't go collect the mobile home because it was on private property. And you can't go on private property
And
to
most of
take one.
these are either, they put them on a hitch and they're out of the state,
Right.
or they've been demolished.
Yeah, that's what you said, those you have record of. But
Correct.
there's some that's not being paid taxes on, probably not on this list.
Correct.
But you can't go get it or anything because it is on private property to which they are paying taxes on.
Correct.
So that creates a problem as well, and I was just wondering if there wouldn't be a way in the future to try to help this problem that you're dealing with today. No further questions, Mr.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Klein.
Monica, thanks for cleaning it up. It's good to get those off the rolls and not have to deal with them. So,
And that's to help with the assessor's office.
yeah, thank you both.
Okay, thank you, Monica. We're going to vote to abate all 118 properties in one motion. And I get to sign 118 different pieces of paper,
That's right.
right? Okay, so with that, I will call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to authorize the treasurer's office to abate the taxes, interest, and fees on 118 properties and authorize the chairman's signature on each of the related certificates of clearance for removal of uncollectible personal property.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Monica. We've got another one for you. 4D, information discussion action, to authorize the treasurer's office to abate the taxes, interest, and fees on this one parcel, account number R037663, and authorize the chairman's signature on the certificate of clearance for removal of uncollected real property.
Yes, this is an easy one. So this one is to abate one certificate of clearance of removal for an uncollectible real property. The background, this certificate, the Gila County Treasurer has one certificate of clearance for uncollectible taxes for a road parcel that was privately owned when the tax liability occurred. And the tax liability occurred before Gila County owned the parcel. The evaluation, this should be sufficient evidence from the Treasurer's Office for the Board of Supervisors inspection and in accordance with the ARS 42-18351 and ARS 42-18352, declaring the real property, now this is real property, not mobile home, listed herein uncollectible. Conclusion, it is in the best interest of Gila County to abate these taxes and remove them from the tax roll. Recommendation, the Gila County Treasurer recommends the Board of Supervisors to approve this one certificate of clearance in accordance with the Arizona Revised Statutes. So this was a road owned by private at one time, and then now the Gila County owns it by a quitclaim deed, and there was back taxes.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions.
Mr. Klein,
Thank you, Monica.
how much back taxes were there approximately?
Taxes, $133.34. Interest, $118.14. Miscellaneous fees, $105, for a total of $356.48.
Okay, thank you. All right, with that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to authorize the Treasurer's Office to abate the taxes, interest, and fees on this one parcel, account number R037663, and authorize the chairman's signature on the certificate of clearance for removal and uncollectible real property.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Good, we have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, next we have 4E, information discussion action to approve or deny petition for redemption of exemption waiver from Karen Ann Brannon, petitioning to have her property tax exemption that is deemed waived by Arizona Revised Statute 42-11153A, redeemed for tax year 2025. And we have Micah with us.
Good morning, Chairman and Supervisors. The Assessor's Office is bringing forth a petition for redemption of waiver pursuant to ARS 42-11153. If a person with a disability who qualifies for an exemption but did not file for the exemption prior to the statutorily required deadline submits a petition, That person may have the waiver redeemed by the County Board of Supervisors at any regular meeting, except that the taxes that were due and payable before the petition was submitted may not be refunded or abated. Mrs. Brandon has been approved for a total disability exemption and qualifies to petition the board for the redemption waiver. She is petitioning the redemption of the waiver for tax year 2025. Taxes for 2025 have not yet been assessed, therefore Mrs. Brandon may petition for the abatement of her exempted amount. She inquired last fall or winter about the exemption before the new exemption forms and 2025 exemption amount had been released from the Arizona Department of Revenue. She was advised that the new exemption form had not been released and it was either miscommunicated or misunderstood by Mrs. Brandon that the updated form would be available no later than the application period of the first Monday in January and March 1st. If the board grants the redemption of the waiver after the exemption is applied, there will still be an existing taxable amount for 2025 tax year. So she will still have a due and payable amount on her tax bill even after the exemption amount is taken out. We in the assessor's office do not advocate for or against any approval of a petition. We leave that decision to the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Micah. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, I have no questions because there's still a tax amount on,
Yes.
on the property. And
Yes.
I'm all for helping people that need help and the seniors. It's just not for later down the road to create problems for ourselves. So
Sure. Her assessed amount for 2025 will be $6,563. If you grant the waiver, the exemption amount for 2025 is $4,748. So she'll still have an assessed remaining amount of $1,815. So she still will have a taxable amount that will be billed.
that's quite a large piece of property, isn't it? For those kind of taxes?
Yep. That's the assessed value.
Oh, the assessed
Yeah, that's
value.
not the taxable amount. That's just the assessed value.
Oh, okay. Thank you. No further questions?
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Klein.
Micah, I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm good as well. So with that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I make the motion to approve a petition for redemption of the exemption waiver from Karen and Brandon as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Micah. Thank you, Sheriff, for coming. 4F, information discussion action to approve an IGA contract number CTR 076472, Healthy People, Healthy Communities, between Gila County and the Arizona Department of Health Services in the amount of $495,076.20 for the period of July 1, 25 to June 30, 2026 to continue to provide prevention program services in Gila County. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. So this is actually the third time this 5-year Healthy People, Healthy Communities contract's come before us. I'm not ashamed to say Mr. O'Driscoll is actually the one that worked with the state of Arizona when we created this grant back in 2016. Hey, Michael. So this runs our chronic disease programs for the county, our teen pregnancy prevention programs in the schools, our tobacco-free programs in the schools. If you remember, we also have a suicide mortality review board that meets quarterly, and they go over all the suicides in the county, and all the different counties do this, and we report back to the state to see what the trends are in suicides and what we can do to do a better job of helping to prevent those. Some of our public health accreditation funds for staying in line with national objectives for public health come out of these funds as well. The biggest change for this next 5-year period, which is a really good one from audit and finance perspective, is this is the last of my grants that used to be a block grant where we just receive the money and bill. Now it's a cost reimbursement grant like all the rest of the grants we have in public health. I'm told from Marin and my finance people that they like that much better as to the auditors. So it will be a cost reimbursement grant from here moving forward. And outside of that, no major changes. Outside, I can say with everything going on at the federal and state level, these are all funds that are mostly put together from state tobacco taxes, lottery funds, and different kinds of state pooled funding. So none of the things that are on this grant are of any consequence to what's happening at the federal level. So this is a grant we would be good for the next 5-year period either way.
Okay, thanks, Josh. Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions.
Supervisor Klein.
I'm good, thank you, Josh.
Yeah, me as well. So, thanks, Josh, for that. I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the intergovernmental agreement, contract number CTR 076472, Healthy People, Healthy Communities, between Gila County with the Arizona Department of Health Services as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Josh. All right, we have 4G, information discussion action to approve the submittal of a county trial courts fiscal year 2026 field trainer grant application in the amount of $25,000 to the Arizona Supreme Court Administrative Office of the Courts. Mr. John Barrett.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. This is a grant that we participated in since 2015. The field trainer position provides a lot of automation training to all levels of court, justice courts, city courts, superior courts. It started with the courts in 2008. A lot has changed since then. I think we'll continue to see more automation projects moving into the future, and this position is our main source of training and incorporating these automated projects into court operations. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, John. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions, thank you.
And Supervisor Klein.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, me too. So, thanks. I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve the submittal of the county trial courts FY 2026 field trainer grant application in the amount of $25,000 to the Arizona Supreme Court Administrative Office of the Courts.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, John. We'll go to 4H, information discussion action to authorize the board chairman to electronically sign the drug, gang, and violent crime control grant agreement fiscal year 26 award grant number DC-26-004 between Gila County Sheriff's Office and the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission in the amount of $340,404 to provide continued funding for the period of July 1, 2025 to June 30, 2026, and authorize the board chairman's signature on the certifications and assurances. And we have the sheriff and we have Sarah White. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Chairman? Good morning. We're grateful to be before you today to present our task force grant application to the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission. We received notification that our application was awarded in the amount of $340,404. That will be for the next fiscal year of July 1, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. It was a small increase, but we're grateful for the increase from last year to this year, and it went up $8,750. With that, there's also a 25% match that the county general fund contributes. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Sarah. Supervisor Humphrey?
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein?
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you. And with that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to authorize the board chairman to electronically sign?
Electronically sign.
Yeah, I know. Electronically sign the Drug, Gang, and Violent Crime Control Grant Agreement, FY 2026. Award grant number DC 26-004 between Gila County Sheriff's Office and the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission as presented, and authorize the board chairman's signature on the certification and assurances.
And I'll second that.
A motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, I don't know, electronically sign what that is. I don't know if that's kind of like what Joe Biden's signature, some special hit a button. Yeah, I don't know, but I will. I'll sign it any way I can. So, thank you very much. So let's move on. We got 4I, information discussion action to approve Biden amendment number 5 to professional service contract number 031221 with John S. Perlman, attorney at law, for legal representation on behalf of the public fiduciary to renew the contract for one additional one-year term from May 11th, 2025 to May 10th, 2026 for a contract amount not to exceed $65,000. Good morning, Tiffany.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. You have before you a very small increase for the attorney John Perlman. He provides legal services for the public fiduciary's office. He has a contract with my office.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
I guess he's been a good attorney then, huh, Tiffany?
He has.
All right.
And he's actually located in my office, so
Oh,
when
right
we
on.
request something,
And if I may say, we're lucky to have him because he's retired from his regular practice and I think from the city of Globe as well.
from
So-
judging.
So
and,
we're
yeah.
very lucky to have
Absolutely.
Bill with us
He's sticking
helping.
around a little while
Yeah,
longer.
yeah, to help Tiffany, it's a great thing because he quit pretty much everybody but us. So I think we're very lucky to have him.
Great. So I have no questions either. So with that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve amendment number 5 to professional services, contract number 031221 with John S. Perlman, attorney at law for legal representation on behalf of the public fiduciary as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you,
Thank
Tiffany.
you.
4J is information, discussion, action to ratify the board supervisor approval for the submittal of the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission fiscal year 2026 drug, gang, and violent crime control grant application. Approve the ACJC fiscal year 2026 drug, gang, and violent crime control grant agreement number DC-26-023 in the amount of $91,758.81 for the period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30, 2026, and authorize the board chairman to electronically sign the agreement. Jessica, do you have this one? Okay.
Chairman, member supervisors, so you are familiar with this grant. It's been in effect for the past 38 years. It is through the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission, Drug, Gang, and Crime Control. What this does, it assists with a full-time prosecutor for drug and violent crimes. There is a small match of $22,939,000. There is a contribution from the state as well as the federal authorities. So the grant total is for $91,758.81. So what this action does, it ratifies the submittal of the application and it approves the grant agreement to receive those funds.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
I'm good.
Okay, I'm good as well. So with that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to ratify the Board of Supervisors' approval for the submittal of the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission ACJC FY 2026 Drug, Gang, Violent Crime Control Grant Application. Approve ACJC FY 2026 Drug, Gang, and Violent Criminal Control Grant Agreement number DC-26-023 as presented and authorize the board chairman to electronically sign the agreement.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, Jessica. All right, that ends our item 4, and going on to our consent agenda items, which is 5A through K. Supervisor Humphrey, would you like to remove one or more items?
I don't care to remove anything and discuss it separately today.
All right. Same question, Supervisor Klein.
The only thing I just want to point out is not really for discussion is the item A, the $151,000 for block grant. That's a lot of money. That's good. So,
do you want to pull that off and discuss it and vote on it separately?
You know what? Let's let Josh discuss it. You bet.
Okay, so at this time, I'm going to take consent agenda 5A and present it as a regular agenda item. So we're going to approval of an intergovernmental agreement, contract number CTR 076954 with the Arizona Department of Health Services in the amount of $151,325 for the period of July 1, 2025 through June 30, 2030, to continue to provide Title V maternal and child health services, block grant services, and public health improvement program services. So Josh Beck, please let us know more about this particular item.
Good morning again, Chairman, board members. So the maternal child health portion of this was what we were using to cover a lot of the oral health, dental stuff that we were doing in the county that we keep presenting to you. They changed the deliverables for next year, and it goes more back to WIC-oriented type services for families with young children. So we won't be able to do the oral health stuff again. So I'll be presenting to you at some point in time during one of the work sessions about where we're sitting with our oral health programs, as some of that funding has kind of went away. The other portion of this is our public health infrastructure, which pays for, and I've brought up to the board before, if you remember, I have a whole back-end system that does all of our workforce development, our workforce trainings, all the public health accreditation stuff. Everything's in one system. It tracks all of our grants and where we're at in the process with Department of Health Services. So like our big back-end software program that we use for all of our public health stuff is a part of this grant. The reason we put it on consent is right now with the budget that just passed the federal budget like 30 minutes ago or 40 minutes ago, it's zeroed out. The maternal and child health and family planning is zeroed out in the federal budget, both on the Senate side and the House side that have passed. So this is one of those grants that we're still hoping we get, but it's zeroed out in both the budgets right now. So,
Thank you, Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions.
Supervisor.
So you say zeroed out, Josh? What you mean? It's done?
yeah, so it's the, last year's funding, federal was like $34 million for it. Now it's just zero across the board. So, but the Department of Health Services is still giving us all of the IGAs, assuming the best. So I will still have, I think, like 12 more IGAs here the next month that I'll be presenting, and what we actually get for the funding and how many stop work orders we get will be a different story. So we have 2 stop work orders right now. One was lifted last night, which was our Public Health Emergency Preparedness Grant, and then one this morning, our Vaccine for Children program. We just received the state notice of award, so that one was lifted this morning. So
Okay.
it's just kind of a daily wait and see right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, with that, I'll call for a motion on item 5A.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve agreement contract number CTR 076954 with the Arizona Department of Health Services in the amount of $151,325 for the period of July 1st through 2025 through June 30th, 2030.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 5A on the consent agenda item, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We still have remaining on the consent agenda items 5B through K. Supervisor Humphrey, have you changed your mind on any of those?
No.
Okay, Supervisor Klein?
I'm good.
Okay, I'll call for a motion to approve consent agenda items 5B through K.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve consent agenda items 4B through 4K.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Oh, excuse me.
Does he need to restate that?
5B through 5K.
Okay, we're good. So I have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All right. Call to the public is our next item. Thank you for your patience. We do have someone here in Globe, Mr. Tom Werner. Mr. Tom Werner lives in Claypool and would like to speak about odors from the landfill here.
I don't live in Claypool. I live
Just
in
one
Little
moment.
Acres.
Yeah.
Chairman, if you could please read the call to the public.
Okay, I'm sorry. Call to the public is time set aside for the public to comment during a scheduled meeting of the Board of Supervisors. The chairman will conduct it and accept comments from the public right before the summary of current events, although the board reserves the right to modify the order at any time. Citizens who wish to address the public body need not request permission in advance. In order for the record to properly reflect the speaker's name, address, and subject matter, please complete the information here. The board may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. In other words, we may ask you questions, but we're not going to vote on any of your comments. Okay, it's not part of our regular agenda. Therefore, pursuant the revised statute, we are able to respond to any criticism, etc. Is that enough, Jessica?
That's sufficient. I just meant from the agenda, not from the blue paper.
Okay. All right, so I overdid it.
Okay.
So, Mr. Werner, if you can contain your comments to about 3 minutes, that'd be helpful. Please tell us what's on your mind today.
Well, I live on Woodward Street in Little Acres, and the aroma from the landfill is not good. When I wake up in the morning and I leave, and I still have that odor in my nasal system, and it's been, the neighbors, they bring my attention, I bring their attention, so it's been an ongoing deal. And then from my house, I can sit there and I can see the trucks coming in and dumping the trash and everything. And I don't know why it couldn't have been built on the other side of that mountain. Instead of Snedden Street, the people are almost right in their backyard. You know, it's probably too late to do anything, but I don't know about the odor. You know, it's not good. Okay. And I don't know what can be done, hauling more dirt, covered up, or, you know, I know you can't move the location, it would take a lot, but it'd be appreciated if something could be done.
Okay, thank you for those comments. Supervisor Humphrey, do you have anything you'd like to?
Well, we can't comment on things that aren't on the agenda, but we can ask staff to look into it. Okay. And so, Terry Links is my assistant. If you'd like to give her your number, then I can get with the Public Works Director that'll get in touch with you.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that way you're not giving your number out publicly. You can give it to Terry, and then I'll have our Public Works Director reach out to you, so maybe can explain to you what's been going on at the dump and things. And so that's about all I can do.
Yeah, because it's just, I mean, I can sit in my house and I can see trash blowing around, and it's just, you know, it's, I don't know. It's not, I know the neighbor's trying to sell her house, and people sit there and they go, oh, we have to look at that, you know, so, I don't know. Anyway.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Klein, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Just the same, if maybe Troy can check all that out, maybe covering it up in more timely manner if that's the case or whatever it is, so, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we'll look into it, Mr. Werner. Thank you for your comments. Anyone else here in Globe? Call to the public. How about you? How many do we have today?
We were at 41 today.
41. Tyler, you look pretty lonely. Okay. Okay, very good. So let's move on to item number 7. Which is our current event summary. Acting County Manager O'Driscoll.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. Just a quick update on the Payson Courthouse remodel. We're on track to move the courts back into the courthouse the weekend of July 18th. And so we're coordinating with all the court employees and county attorney's office to go ahead and do that, and we're planning for the entire weekend to move in there. So if you see a lot of busy people at the courthouse on that weekend, that's what we're doing. And that's the only update I have right now.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, I attended a regional council meeting on the 25th, and that's the CAG. So I'm on the CAG board, regional board as well. So, yeah, I kind of get another view of all of these things that are going on at that level, so that's a good thing. And the mayor of Miami and the mayor of Globe both carpooled with me, so we were able to communicate and things without a meeting, to just kind of talk about the community. Attended a District 2 project review meeting on the 25th with Troy, our interim Public Works Director, and engineering and others that we have projects going on in District 2 and projects that we want to get started in District 2. So I value that meeting every month. And then tonight at 5 o'clock, I will be in Tonto Basin for my community meeting at the Chamber. And Mr. Chair, that's all I have.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Klein?
Mr. Chair, thank you. Last Thursday, I attended a NACO Public Lands meeting. It was on Zoom. I'm representing Maricopa County on some resolutions that we proposed. And then next week on the 10th, I'll be going to Philadelphia to follow those resolutions and help Maricopa County in the WIR meeting on NACO, and be back on the 12th. That's it.
Okay, very good. So I don't really have a report. I understand that we do not have a meeting next Tuesday or the one after. Is that correct, ladies? We do not have a meeting next week or the week after, correct? All right. Thank you very much for that. I don't have anything really to report.
I'm good.
And so, let's see, it seemed like there was something on my mind. Well, if there's nothing else, I'm going to wear my pen out, sign and stuff. So I'll adjourn this meeting. Thank you.